look at this. Oh, buddy. Anamorphic. This is Anamorphic. Autofocus lens. Check it out. Oh, huh? Now, I de-squeeze this by hand in OBS, so I'm not sure if this is the perfect aspect ratio, but, you know, I think it's pretty good. I look pretty handsome, if I don't say so myself. We have 2 people in stream. Welcome. Let's see who's here. We'll just do a stream for 2 people, and it's going to be great. There are no comments, no reaction. Am I on? Is this thing on? I should check my YouTube thing. Make sure that I am here. Can you guys let me know if I'm here? It's the way all live streams start, with a bunch of YouTubers going, "Hey guys, am I on? Am I live? Yeah? Studio. And content. And live. And it says I'm live. And it says I have monetization off. Because I don't charge people to watch my lives. You know what I mean? It's free. No ads. No nothing. We'll go to the link here. See if anyone's talked at all. No, there is. Okay. Oh, yeah, there's a few people. Hi. It's not showing up on my eCam for some reason. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it is. It's here. I just didn't hit the button. Yeah. So, first, yeah, Blazar or Surrey. Surrey? It's Surrey. At least Jared Poland was really adamant about it, but I've always pronounced it Surrey anyway because I'm ahead of the curb. Curb? I'm ahead of the curb and curve. But yes, it is a, this one's the Surrey 40 millimeter, so it's a little further back than I'd like. I wanted them to send me the 20 as well, but, you know, they didn't have that one in stock, so we got the 40 and we're backing it up. But I will say this, while the autofocus is definitely noisy, you can hear it from the lens. I mean, like, it works. I can do an anamorphic live stream, and it is a different quality. I gotta say, like, if, you know, normally you see my live streams are quite punchy, you know, sharp. I got an APS-C camera with an APS-C lens. It's really sharp and punchy. It's more muted, filmic. You know, it is definitely different. Let's see, can we get any anamorphic flares? I doubt with the lighting setup that I have. I'll just turn on my iPhone here. See, got a flare here? Oh yeah, a little bit. You see that line? Look, a little bit blue line. Oh, did I get a blue one? Because apparently they have a blue one and another one. So yeah, there you go. A little bit of flares. What I should have had a nice bright light setup back there. Anyway, I got to go test this lens. I'll go out in the streets of Toronto, shoot some, you know, nighttime scene, and then get robbed. It's going to be great, guys. It's going to be great. Let's see. 28 people. You know what? We don't need to be counting my people, okay? We don't need to be publicly shaming Mark Bennett for not having people. But you know what? First of all, there are more people joining right now. The C64. And this is a bit of an impromptu stream, not to be defensive. Also, as a stand-up comic for 20 years before I did this, I had a guy, he's gone now, but he died way too young. And Tim Steeves, one of Canada's great comedians. If you've ever seen the Just for Laughs show, he did a bunch of those. He was very, very, very funny, very smart. And he said, because he was a few years older than me, when we would get to a show and there were 10 people, he would say, well, these people, look at this. No one else had the guts to come out to a show. They didn't want to brave the weather or whatever excuse they had to stay home. These 5 to 10 people came out. So instead of being upset that there's not more people there, appreciate the ones who are here. Go up and give them the best possible show you can, because you owe them more. Here is clearly, this is a day where people don't feel like coming to a comedy show, and these people did anyway. So I always thought about that. And so anytime I see a small crowd, or like when I was doing YouTube at first and there was only a few people watching, I always remember Tim Steeves saying that, you know, it's like, the people, stop worrying about the people who didn't show up. Screw them. The people who did show up, especially when you're not famous, especially when you have a smaller audience. The ones who show up first, those are the really important ones. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Prediction of the A7V release date. I tell you, I was gonna say at Sony Condo. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's a big event for them. And they introduced the A7C2 there, I think, last year. Not this one, but the year before. So they like to introduce stuff around then, and that's before the Christmas shopping season or the holiday shopping season. So I was thinking Condo. But now that guy that, hello everybody, the guy with the Sony Alpha rumors, he's saying, and it's just like, I mean, he's been pretty accurate for a while with the Sony stuff. I don't know where he's getting his info. It's not me, Sony. But he's saying it's sooner. So sometime in Q1, or I don't see how that's possible though, because I mean, we're halfway through February now. Anyway, I'm still going with September-ish. That'd be my guess. But the rumors are that it'll be coming out sooner than that. Mm-hmm. Well, then why are they gonna announce at Sony Condo in September or late August or whenever that is? You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's what I think. Morning all. Cheers. Cheers to you. Oh, that's a nice beard you got there. Chalets, and a nice name. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back and is this cinema? This is the cinema, as Casey would say. You were looking at the cinema. Yeah, I like it. This is new. It's pretty good. Like this is on 1.8 too. It's wide open. So, you know, it's softer than my clinically sharp 15mm photography lens, which makes perfect sense. But it's good. And this is also a live stream. I'm using OBS as a virtual cam in my eCam, streaming it and putting on a LUT in real time. So this isn't a full demonstration of how the quality you could get out of this lens, but it's certainly the quality you would get. You know what? Did I white balance this? I didn't. So this probably could be white balance, but I didn't manually white balance. I left it on the white balance of my previous lens. So hopefully it looks pretty close, actually. This looks like the right, doesn't look too yellow or green or magenta. Looks good. Okay. A7IV still the GOAT. Yeah, overall, I mean, 2 card slots, fantastic camera. So yeah, we should talk about the A7V predictions. That was the first thing, right? I put on the, because the A7IV is GOAT status, man. That is really, really good. So you're selling the A7IV today. Well, I sold mine, but not because of the A7V, just because, where is he? This guy right here, the A7R5. That's not a, yeah, okay. A7R5. This one is, autofocus anamorphic. This one just had the 61 megapixels, and I do some landscapes, but I test, you know, a lot of lenses. Some of them are APS-C lenses. And it's really nice to be able to crop into APS-C mode and still have 26 megapixels. So, and 8K, I wanted to experiment with the 8K a little bit. So there you go. That's why I did that. It had nothing to do with the A7V, which I will buy just because I'm a camera channel and I'm going to have to do a pilot test with it anyway. Might as well have it on hand. Okay. Wait, just tell my name and I will go away. Why, what's happening? Why? Don't leave. Don't leave. We were just talking about how we don't have enough people. OBS, yes. So what? No, I'm using eCam, but I am using OBS as a virtual cam. So I open up OBS, I de-squeeze the image in OBS, and then I put it, and now I'm using eCam for my regular stream because I can do things like put up your comment. New. So okay, so Anesh has my white balance. You're just writing things I'm saying. So let's see. Oh wait, here's. Have you ever run into micro jitters when using a light camera like the ZV-E10 and the 15mm on a Weebill 3S? Turn down the motor strength? Yeah, you could turn down the motor strength. That could help. Usually they have an auto-tune feature. Weebill 3S does. It has an auto-tune feature. So put on the camera, balance it, make sure it's balanced without it being on. If it can hold itself upright, then that's good. And then with the Weebill 3S, do the auto tune, and then that will judge the weight for you. You know, if you're getting micro jitters with a Zhiyun gimbal, chances are it needs to be a little bit rebalanced. So, you know, you can also recalibrate the gimbal. Maybe the calibration's a little bit off. Make sure your balance is good. Auto tune. If that doesn't work, recalibrate your gimbal according to the instructions. And I don't think you should have the micro jitters. The Zhiyuns are pretty good about that. Now, if you were to say DJI, I would say, yeah, that's more likely. It's harder to get rid of the micro jitters on the DJI gimbals. They're still amazing gimbals, but it's just, I find Zhiyun is just a little bit better in that particular category. Oh, right. Keep getting distracted. What's the biggest feature I expect on the A7V? And what's the biggest feature I want? Well, LL Melt. I expect 4K 120, and I want that. But it's also, I think that'll be at a 1.5 times crop. All right, so let's just run down what I think is going to be here. A7V. Oh, look at this. Cam Mackey, super chatting. Tell us everything you know. Well, Cam, I know how to stream now on an Anamorphic. You mentioned OBS, and I watched Tom Buck. This is the Sony 40mm Anamorphic. Stretched it, well, I de-squeezed it in OBS, and now I'm doing a virtual cam into eCam, so I can put up your handsome face there with the comment. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. Here's what I'm going to say, Cam. Here's what I think, okay? A7 IV is still a great camera. So here's what we're going to do. I'm thinking they're sticking with the 33 megapixels, which means they're not going to go 8K. The 6K open gate, I just doubt it. I don't think Sony is running that race. For some reason, I'd like it. I would very much like it. Especially now I'm doing like some short form content and vertical stuff. I don't like turning the camera on its side. I like having it there and just cropping in. So, oh, sorry about banging the mic. I like having that, you know? So here's what I think. I don't think it's going to have the 6K open gate. That would be nice though. And that would definitely be something, you know what, Sony, if you're listening, you should put in the 6K open gate, because I think if it's a smaller incremental upgrade, which I think it's going to be with an A7V because the 4 is so great, having that 6K open gate is going to turn some heads. My head, I'm buying it anyway. Don't get me wrong. I am not, they know they got me. They don't care about me. They could just release the A7 IV and just put a 5 on it, and I'll still buy it. I'm a camera channel. I'm going to compare it to everything. I'm going to get it because I do the Sony stuff. Oh, look at who's here. It's Kofi. Super chat, $10 now, Kofi. Come on, man. We're in Canada. We gotta save our pennies right now, all right? We may be in financial ruin soon, but thank you. Anamorphic live stream. I'm a proud member of Shield Team 6. Listen, oh, you know what this is? Yeah, they are going to sponsor a video. That's true. It's not this one, because they wouldn't want that. You had a live stream with 5 people, and you want us to pay you money? No. So I'm going to do a product demonstration of the Sony 40mm. It's not a big sponsorship. They didn't have a lot of budget, and I really just wanted to test out the lens and do it. But of course, I'm going to be telling everybody, hey, this is, you know, don't take this as a review because it's a sponsored video. Even if it's not a lot of money, it's still sponsored. So, but I like Anamorphics, but as I have told everybody, sadly, people don't hang out with me. So I have to do everything myself, and this one, but yeah, look at that. Look, focus breathing. There's focus breathing. I won't mention that in the sponsored review. I will. Of course I will. But look at this. Focus breathing. So it has some focus breathing, which is too bad because, of course, we're going to be using this for video. And it has some focus motor noise. But like, come on, guys. To be able to get anamorphic with, you know, autofocus, you can't come out of the gate Usain Bolt. You know what I mean? You got to build up your legs. You got to get stronger. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, guys? So let's get back to everything we're doing here. Right. So Cam said, tell us everything. Of course, I've titled this whatever you call it, the A7V predictions. So let's go with the A7V. I'm sure I have to repeat it several times, but I want the A9 body. okay, with that flippy, tilty screen. The one that's here on this A7R5, the flippy, tilty, this thing is, oh, it's so beauty, you know, because you don't, if you're trying to take photos, you can just pull it out like that on the side. It's so much more robust than you think, because when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be flimsy. And then when I felt it and I used it, I'm like, it's not flimsy at all. It's fantastic. And so I want that. I want that. Again, you're not going to be able to do a ton of upgrades. So if they can get a few things that entice people to upgrade from the A7 IV, so because I think they're still going to use the same 33 megapixel sensor. They're going to put in that AI chip, but as we all know, the autofocus is amazing on the A7 IV, so that's not going to sway a ton of people. It will be great, especially. I don't think they're going to be able to do the whatchamacallit. Oh, maybe they will, though. I was going to say the dynamic active stabilization, because the only one was the ZVE1 that has 12 megapixels and a really fast readout sensor. But they did do it now on the A1 Mark II, but that has a crazy fast readout sensor for a 50 megapixel camera. So they're going to have to really update the hardware to reduce the rolling shutter and to be able to do that dynamic active stabilization. Now, that would be a win-win. The idea of having a much faster readout would be great for the jello effect, but would also enable them to do things like dynamic active stabilization, and then you get that super smooth footage that you can get from that dynamic active stabilization. And then you can do, you know, all of the different modes they have, that centering mode, and the thing that follows you around the frame. So, now, is that a prediction? I don't know. I don't know. That one, I'm on the fence with that one. I know they're going to do the AI chip, but I don't know, and I know they're going to improve the rolling shutter, but I don't know if they're going to improve it enough to be able to use dynamic active stabilization. I say, if you're watching, when you see the A7 V released, if they don't have dynamic active stabilization, my guess is the rolling shutter won't be amazing, you know? That'd be my guess. I'll have to get it in and test it out. But I want the A9 body because that's great ergonomics. It feels good. And then I want the flippy, tilty screen. And I want 4K. I accept at a 1.5 times crop. I want 4K 60 at no crop. Want the AI chip. All of the new Sony features. Yeah, and the cherry on top will be the 6K open gate. I honestly don't think that one's going to happen. I don't think that one's going to happen. But if it did, oh, buddy, I think they'd have a winner if they did that. Price it at $2,500. Do all of the things I just said. Do them. Okay? What do you guys think? Let me know. Do I want to try the Blazer? Yes, I do, Cam. I do indeed. But I'm up here in Canada. If you were to send me a lens for even a lend, they'll probably stop it at the border and ask for customs and crap. But I will be going to Vegas, you know. But I do want to try. I do want to try the Blazer. I would, because of the autofocus, absolutely. And plus, everybody seems to really like those things. The footage you get out of it is ridiculous. But that's you. You're always going to get good footage. I know that. But I don't know, man. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't ever talked to Blazer. I haven't talked to them. Cam sending them to Mark and not me is a hate crime. That's true. He hates you. And don't you have them? Listen, I am sure I've heard you talk about them. I am the most handsome. I enjoy this argument because I am on the winning side of all of this. Okay, so what is this? Okay. And Ash is still writing all of the thoughts he has in his head and just writing them down. Try to put more of it in one comment so when I read it, it's not totally out of context. Okay, so I just picked up the A7R5 and paired it with the new 24-70 G Master 2. It's heavy, yeah, but the images it produces, even in JPEG, are unbelievable. Yeah, it's hard to think otherwise. You get that combo, my God, the A7R5 with that G Master 2, any G Master, almost any lens these days. They're getting so good. I'm procrastinating. That's why I'm doing a live stream right now, because I'm supposed to be working. But it's crappy outside, and there's a guy with a wood chipper just right outside my door, and it's snowing. You know, is that enough excuses not to be working? So I've been testing the new Makey 85mm Pro. Oh boy, this one is the 1.4, which I said the image quality rivaled the G Master, and it does. I mean, it's not as good as a G Master, but the image quality itself, if you do a picture side by side of someone's headshot with this 85 1.4 and the Sony 85 1.4, I keep hitting this mic. I'm sorry. The image can be indistinguishable at times. Absolutely great lens. But their 85 Pro, it's a 1.8, so it's going to cost less than this one. It's much smaller than this one, and its autofocus is so snappy and silent, and it really feels like a pro lens. Makey is Makey? It's Makey. Makey is doing really good things, and I'm really liking their Pro line. I like this one too. It's just that whereas this one is great for image quality, the autofocus is a tiny bit slower and noisier and is not going to get as many tracking shots as that 85 1.8. Anyway, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm live streaming to, you know, this is kind of like, it feels like, it's like if you should be going to the gym, but instead you watched Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, you still feel like you did something, but did you? Or are you just wasting time? You know? Are you just wasting time? Let's see. But, yeah. Yeah, Cam, you know what? Maybe you Blazar, you're friendly with the Blazars, right? You tell Blazar, Cam, that Mark Bennett would just skyrocket their stock. I mean, you get on my channel, you get the Mark Bennett bump, Blazar. Oh my goodness, huh? You'll never look back. Do I think it will have the same sensor as the A7 III? Absolutely not. I do not think that. Well, first of all, I think you mean A7V because you wrote A7 IV, but A7 V I'm sure you mean, and same sensor as the A7S III. No, because that is the ZV-E1 sensor. That's over there somewhere. That's a 12 megapixel sensor. The A7 line, the A7 V, will be a hybrid camera, so it will be very, very beefed up, you know, in the photo department as well. It's going to have 2 card slots. It's going to have great EVF. Oh, EVF, I should say that. That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one, the EVF. I think the EVF will only be a slight improvement over the A7 IV. You heard me. You heard me. I don't think they're going to give it the A1, the A7R5, or the A7S III, in fact. They're not going to give the same EVF as those guys. I think they're going to give a better EVF, but it probably won't be good enough, in my opinion. The screen, same thing. The Sony screens, it doesn't matter how many dots they give them, they're not great. They're not amazing, but they're much, much better than they used to be. But, yeah. Let's see. What else is happening? Hey, look, there you go. When will the FX3 be coming, and is it coming with a big update? Purely a sensor with more sensitive to light, or have we peaked at sensor technology? Wow. I mean, I can't see how it would be more sensitive to light if it has a dual native ISO of 12,800. I mean, I think we'll be lucky to get that again. I think that they have a really, hey, look at Josh. Oh, Joshy Seton, looking good, dude. It's anamorphic, Josh. If you just arrived, look at this. Whoa, anamorphic autofocus. Surrey, 40mm. Cam is going to buy all of the Blazar lenses and send them to me free of charge. Did you know that? It's great. So, such a nice man. And what was I talking about? Josh. I saw Josh. I got excited. Lost my mind. Oh yeah, the FX3. I just don't know how they're going to update that to make it better. I mean, it's so good. I mean, again, like you can't really do 6K at open gate and things like that if you're going to do the 12 megapixels to make it so good with the light sensitivity and, you know, like. Maybe if they could find some way to global shutter that guy with a 12 megapixel sensor, but making a global shutter not easy, you know, to go make a second global shutter, but this one instead of 24 megapixels, 12 megapixels, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with that I'm kind of here for camera brands having huge quality of life features instead of new sensors. Everything looks so good already. Yeah, Kofi, I think so, buddy. I think that's it, right? Like you get the stuff that helps you out. And so that's why, you know, I like that. That's why I'm using the Panasonic S5 II X for the shorts and the vertical, because I like that 6K open gate and you know, more features, more anamorphic type features like this. This FX30 here, he's got the de-squeeze function, but man, I tell you, like that, so you can see it in camera. But that's not great because it turns off your stabilization and now it turns off your autofocus. Wasn't a problem before when we didn't have autofocus, but we have autofocus now in these lenses. So it turns it off. So you know what I mean? And then when I was shooting in log, actually, I was trying to shoot in log and then it told me I couldn't use the autofocus in log, which was weird. So anyway, I'll do a little more testing, but what I'm saying is we need to get better, the Sony needs to get better anamorphic features. Now that you got some autofocus lenses and stuff, and boobs like myself can use them, you know what I mean? Does Canon have a patent on that eye tracking autofocus? I don't think they do. I mean, most places have the eye tracking autofocus, so I don't think Sony I don't think likes to at least publicize that they're making patents and taking features away from other camera companies. So I don't know. I think that I don't know what they'll do, but I think that harping on about autofocus is probably not going to sell them any cameras, because what are you going to say? The A7 IV autofocus is bad? Nobody's going to ever say that. So you saw me comparing the ZV-E1 and the A7C II. Do I think the A7C II could anyhow be useful for vlogging? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just get yourself a wide lens, you know? I use the 16-25. Now, you don't have the dynamic active stabilization, but that does crop in a lot. You also still have that, you know, gyro flow or catalyst browse or catalyst prepare. It still does the data. So you can just, so what I do sometimes is if I'm using like an A7C II, I'll put it on active stabilization, and usually that's good enough if I'm got my 16-25. And if I find it's a little too shaky, I run it through like Catalyst Browse. And yeah, it goes from 8-bit to 10-bit, but that doesn't really matter for your vlog footage. At least I don't find it matters. See that? I can back away from the mic when I have the gear acquisition syndrome. So that's, it's absolutely, the A7C II is a great vlogging camera. It is just missing that dynamic active stabilization, but you can compensate for that by being a little smoother and more deliberate with your movements, and you get a wider field of view because it doesn't crop in so much. And then later, if you think that looks a little bit too shaky, run it through Catalyst Browse or froknowsgyro.com, and then you can smooth out your footage a little bit. That's what I like to do, you know? Oh, we got another super chat. Super chat. I should have like a celebration or something. Marine X, he's a moderator on this thing. When he does his live streams and someone does a super chat, he has got like dancing girls come out and fireworks and stuff. I don't know how he does all that stuff. He's crazy. Okay. Be nonstop. Yeah. Out there, be nonstop. Nose to the grindstone, guys. Just wanted to say thank you for the best VND filter lens Nisi recommendation. Just bought the 11, and it's hands down for low light vlogging and snares. Thank you. That is apropos. I am doing a video in partnership with Nisi coming up about their new magnetic system, and this one's going to be more photocentric instead of, because I really like the variable neutral density filters, the VND. I like those for quick video work, especially vlogging and things like that. But when it comes to photos, when I'm taking my Pulitzer Prize-winning, award-winning photos, I want those hard stops, you know. So I have a landscape kit, so circular polarizer, 3, 6, and 10 stop filter, and the only problem is that it's winter here, and it's like if I want to demonstrate a waterfall, I got to drive to Niagara Falls. It's like an hour and a half from me, guys. And you know I don't like to leave. You know, I like to stay here, playing with the anamorphic lenses. But you're welcome. Oh, and thanks for the super chat. Okay, now we're even. I gave you a good recommendation. You gave me $10. We are even. BH. Don't know who Josh is talking to, but maybe he's telling someone about B&H Photo. I don't know. How am I? You know what? I'm well. I'm well. More people showed up to this stream than I expected. It was kind of just, like I said, I'm procrastinating, thinking about the A7V. The Sony's doing a big sale right now, so a lot of people are like, that big sale, that means that the A7V is coming. But it's the very similar prices to a lot of the sales they're often doing. And, you know, like they've been putting this A7R5 on for quite a while now, and they're not going to update this anytime soon, at least as far as I know. And like this, you gotta take a look at the Sony pipeline. And in the Sony pipeline, the cameras that are most likely to be updated is the A7 IV and really the A7S III. But since that may never get updated, we don't know, then that one might be gone. And then you're looking at the FX3. So I think the A7V has enough things they can upgrade with the chip, better LCD, better viewfinder, that get the tilty swivel screen, A9 body, and 4K 120 at a crop, 4K 60 no crop. I think that's enough right there. If they do, you know, the 6K open gate, and I'd also, so the maybes for me are 6K open gate and the good enough rolling shutter that it can do dynamic active stabilization. Those are the maybes. Love to see them, but you know what I mean? Okay. Let's see. Suggestion for a portrait and video lighting paired with Dougie in a semi-small recording studio. Trying to rebrand myself. Quality, but affordable. Well, I mean, I think there's a nice view to Ulanzi, or Ulanzi. I've seen them advertised lately where the girl on the video says Ulanzi. So it's Ulanzi. They have some good budget lights, but my go-to is usually small rig. The small rig RC120D is about the most powerful, affordable light that isn't noisy that I can think of. So get yourself a small rig softbox, you know, and for the COB light, and the COB light, get the small rig 120D, and you're pretty set up then. You know, you can just use that one main light. You can add lights in later as things go by, but yeah. But if you're in a semi-small room, probably get the smaller, the 30 centimeter softbox, and not like a 90 centimeter, because those things are huge. And yeah, that's what I would get. That's what I would get. You're wondering why my face is not as clear as my shirt? Well, got an ugly face. I mean, I got a box around my eye. Look, I'll prove it. Now we got this thing is in focus, and now, see my hand? Now my face. Okay, and look at the microphone. Even the microphone is a little fuzzy compared to me. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's an anamorphic lens, wide open at 1.8, and it's also affordable. So you're not going to get the sharpest image in the world. And also, anamorphic lenses don't love making sharp lenses. I was typing in the wrong window, looking at B&H too often. You know, guys. Yeah, Josh was busy shopping. Josh, put the shopping away and put your full attention on my face, my apparently fuzzy face. Okay, so let's see. Man, these comments are coming fast and furious. This is what we like here on the channel. We like, let's go. Listen, we like this engagement. And we like procrastinating from doing our real work. You know, should be doing lens tests. I should be doing them, but I'm not. Okay. Been waiting on Sony to open gate forever. I know. You feel like that's something they could just do. You know what I mean? But beats me. Best Sony 50mm ASP-C lens. Oh boy. There's a bunch right now. I would do I would probably go the Makey 55mm 1.4. I would probably pick that one for video. And yeah, 55 1.4 for video. And does Viltrox have the 56? Yeah, the Viltrox 56 1.7 for if you're doing photos only. But if you're doing video, I would get the Makey. If you're doing photos, I would get the Viltrox in terms of a really good lens. That's a good deal. Yeah, that's what I would do. Da, 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 da. I'm going back through the comments to see if I missed things. See if I missed them. You like that? Hi, I'm looking forward to new information. Well, you know, you can get my information. But I mean, I did write predictions. I was careful to say predictions. I don't work at Sony. I don't know anything. I know Will. Huh? This is, look at this, cinematic. So cinematic. It's definitely a different focal length than usual because normally I'm on 40 here on APS-C. Now normally I'm using 15. So you see it's kind of, you know, thinned out my face a bit here. Made me more model-like, if you can believe it. James Dean. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. What else we got here? Blink 3 times if you have any information about the FX3 Mark II. Well, I blink all the time, but no, I don't have any. I don't know any cameras on the horizon, and but I feel like it's coming. I mean, if the FX3 Mark II comes, maybe that's the one that could come at Sony Kondo around early September, late August. And then they could release the A7V as Sony Alpha Rumors is predicting soon. But, you know, he likes to say everything's coming tomorrow. And then, you know, later he says, I didn't mean tomorrow. I meant tomorrow next year. So, let's see. Anymore. There's lots of comments. I'm just trying to pick out ones that are, well, I mean, I've said that a few times. I'll say it again soon. We'll say it again soon. Okay. I think the A7V will be the A6700 but full frame. You know what, Paul? I know Paul. He's a good dude. I think that's pretty accurate. You know, 4K 120 at a 1.5 times crop. Get your 4K 60. You get your 4K 30 USB-C streaming, right? You get a better updated screen, updated viewfinder. You know, you get that new AI chip. Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually pretty close. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if they did the dynamic active stabilization. It'd be nice if they gave you the 6K open gate. And I definitely want to see that A9 body with the flippy tilty screen. Can I see that one? Who's writing me? And it's just my watch telling me I've been sitting too long. You know what, Apple? I don't need your crap. All right? I don't need your damn crap. Sitting there. The billionaires telling me I'm lazy. Okay, let's see. The A7, oh, you answered the other person's question. Is it one of the best vlogging cameras? I agree. It is excellent. It's just that you know, you just got to be aware that you need to be a little bit smoother. Doesn't have Lumix stabilization. So when you're using the active stabilization of the A7C2, it's way better than it used to be, but you still can't be herky-jerky. You got to be nice and smooth, you know, like me with the ladies. Smooth. Okay, so let's see. I'll type Q. Type Q. If you want to get your question looked at quickly, type Q for question, and then I'll be able to just do a search for that. See, Will did it. I already put his up. You see that? He got it. Will got it. The TT Artisan 50 is also good. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's absolutely good. And the most budget friendly. It's probably the best hybrid lens between the two, between the Viltrox 1.7 and the Makey 1.4. The TT Artisan's a 1.8, but still, you know, it's not the end of the world, 1.8 versus 1.7 or 1.4. And it's really, I really like the metal build. got into like a disagreement with a commenter on my TT Artisan. He was like, how dare you say the TT Artisan is good build quality. It sucks. I hate it so much. And I was like, okay, well, to me, I like the, where is it? Don't have it here. I like the metal feel of those TT Artisan lenses. I think they feel premium as opposed to like the cheaper plastic ones from say, Viltrox, which are still good lenses, but they feel like plastic lenses, because they are. Whereas the TT Artisan is just a nice, smooth, solid metal lens that's still not too heavy. So I personally like it. But that guy got so mad that he ended up apologizing, saying, maybe I was a little, you know, a little too angry with my last comment. I was like, yeah, dude, take it down a notch. But feel free to let me know that you don't like the quality. That way it gives me a better perspective. Then I know, okay, I personally like it, but in my future reviews, I'll tell people, you know, I like it, but hey, to each his own. You know, he thinks it feels cheap. Does small rig ever have the Hawklock rig cage? I don't know what a Hawklock rig cage is, so I'm going to say no. But they did do a cage for the ZV-E10. And then at first it blocked the hot shoe, and then they fixed it, and then they put out a new one. So why don't you suggest more the S5 II? It's an amazing camera for that price. Well, I'll tell you, it's because I mean, I have many Sony cameras, and I really like the E-mount for all of the lens options, and I like to review lenses, and there's so many more lenses that come out for the E-mount, so many more affordable lenses. They have, I like that Sony APS-C cameras can share lenses with their full frame cameras, like my A7R5, and stick on an APS-C lens on that anytime I want. The Lumix only has the full frame mount that you can't just switch over to Micro Four Thirds. That doesn't work. The autofocus is still not there. I mean, I've shown it in many videos. It's good. It's a good autofocus. But like, if you're trying to track something moving around your head, it's going to lose you. If you're trying to track a person and there's 2 or 3 people in the frame, it's going to, you know, be jerky and go back and forth. And so those are the reasons I don't use them more. But I mean, it's an amazing camera with an amazing feature set. And you know, if you're not a camera reviewer and you can find the lenses you like, and you especially like doing a lot of video, as long as you don't mind those, it's not quite as good at autofocus, and certainly when it comes to tracking, autofocus tracking, it's still not great at that, I gotta say. I got the S5 IIX over there, and I've used the S5 II a lot. And like, if you, like with the Sony camera, if you cover up this eye, you will still get your eye autofocus. If you cover up this eye with a Lumix camera, it will switch. There's a little imaginary box that they put about here, and if anything enters that box, then your focus will shift. And whereas Sony and Canon, it really sticks to one eyeball. And if you cover up that eyeball, it switches to the other eyeball. So it's still a bit better in the autofocus realm, but Panasonic also gives you more video features, all those anamorphic functions. You have stabilization with anamorphic lenses, and many people would have a very valid argument that it's a much better system for depending on who you are. So I have, like, look, Nikon, Canon, Sony, Lumix, even some of the Micro Four Thirds, your OM systems and your Lumix Micro Four Thirds, they're all great. You can use them all. But I just, with what I am and my reliance on autofocus and the way I like switching lenses back and forth and the lens selection, that's me. That's why I recommend more Sony. What's the prediction of the price? $2,500. Think they'll go $2,500. That is my prediction. The A6700 doesn't get the love. Why is that? It's a powerhouse. You know what? You don't hear it. It's true. You don't hear it talked about, but like, it is selling like crazy. People, it hasn't been lost on people how good it is. Like, that is everyone who has APS-C lenses in the Sony system knows that the A6700 it's a very appropriate flagship. It's selling like crazy. Like, I can see it on my videos anytime I talk about the A6700 or the FX30. That also, people love that for when it's for video. And like right now, I'm just sitting here, never worried about overheating. Just Everything works perfectly. So it's the FX30 is very popular, still very, very popular. But anyone who's a hybrid shooter or anyone who's photocentric, they love the A6700, and it does very well. It's a big hit for Sony. So it's just, you know, influencers, everybody's often talking about the latest full frame camera and things like that. But yeah, make no mistake, it is, you know. So Nesh, boy, he's typing happy, this guy. Sony launches in 2025. When will ZV-E1 Mark II or ZV-E2 be coming, in your opinion? An update to ZV-E1? Oh, not for a while. I don't know, 3 years maybe from now? Yeah, like that's, if you were thinking I'll wait to upgrade my ZV-E1, I would not wait. You aren't seeing that anytime soon. That'll be quite a while. Question from Quirkworks, always here on the live streams. A7V or A6700 video unit content creation. Thank you. I mean, I haven't seen the A7V yet, so I don't know. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, look, if you're a dentist, you got money, your money bags over there. I mean, if you can afford if it has the same specs as the A6700, but in a full frame body, then, you know, but you also have to buy full frame lenses. But if you got deep pockets, then why not, right? Why not go with the full frame? But, you know, I'm speaking from experience here. I have fancy full frame cameras, and I'm shooting on the FX30, which is the same sensor as the A6700. I use my ZV-E10 Mark II a ton. I use my A6700 all the time because I often need a hybrid camera. I need to be able to take some good photos and take some good video. And I use those more than my full frame cameras, and I have them. Do you know what I mean? So there's certainly, it's not just, hey, you can save some money. There's just so many lens options. There's so many things to do. So if you're just worried that you need to hurt yourself financially to go get that full frame camera, I'm here to tell you that is not necessary. You don't need it. Absolutely. At least I don't. And most people in the content creation space do not need it. You have lenses that are 1.2s now from Viltrox, and probably more coming from other companies. 1.2 lenses, so like that's a full frame 1.8. Do you know what I mean? Like the gap is it's closed a lot if between full frame and APS-C. But of course, you know, if the money is there, you can always, getting that full frame, having the option of the full frame, being able to get an even shallower depth of field, getting more dynamic range, getting the latest and greatest Sony tech when the A7V comes out. But you're going to have to pay for it. You know what I mean? $2,500 or more probably, and then nice full frame glass to go along with that. It's going to be double the price of getting an A6700. Like getting an A6700 with a 15mm 1.4 costs you about half of getting an A7V and a 24mm 1.4 G Master, and they look almost identical, with the exception that the when you're in a setting like this, for instance, they will look identical. I never shoot at 1.4 or even 1. I shoot at f2 on my APS-C lenses. So right now this is a 1.8, and it's a little too blurry for me back there. I would actually like to stop this down, but it's too late, and the camera's over there. So I hope that very convoluted question. I shoot the ZV-E10 for client work all the time. Upgrade only when you need to. See? Quirkworks, I was already answering your question. And you're saying to other people that the APS-C is the way to go sometimes. And it is sometimes. Any interest in checking out the Fuji X-M5? Absolutely. I just don't have as many. I mean, there's only so much time in the day. You know what I mean? Canon, I just got, Camera Canada just lent me a Canon R7 so that I could get all of the Canon R-mount APS-C lenses from Sigma, and they are all sitting in my basement right now in the boxes because I'm trying to get to them, but there's always so much to do. And then some days you just waste You just waste time by doing a live stream and instead of doing your work. That's what I should have done today. No, you know what though? It's snowing out there and I didn't want to get wet, you know, because snow is wet. It's like rain if you stay out there long enough. I didn't want to get all wet. And then plus Sigma was nice enough to lend me all those lenses. And you know, and with Canon, like with the camera, like you're showing the camera and the sensor with the lens off sometimes, you can't be doing that in the weather. That's my excuse for not doing any work today. But that's it. Yeah, but of course I'm interested. I love Fuji. I got a Fuji X106. I got a Fuji XS20, and I never use them. I wish I did. It's just, again, the time. Who has time? Not me. Not me. I'm too busy yammering on about nonsense on a live stream. Okay. It's an innovative cage. This is the Hawk thing, where the accessories you attach when you press a button and you slide it on, it clicks on. It's like a claw. Kind of poor way to describe it to you. No, okay, I get it. I don't think they do, but you know what? Ulanzi comes out with cool little cages with fast releases, F38 and F22 slides and clips and clunks. So maybe they might have something. You should check them out. Thank you. If you have any recommendations, oh, you're talking to QuirkWorks. You let them know about your lens recommendations. You're talking about ZV-E10, Sony 15mm 1.4 for video, or the Sigma 16 1.4, or the Yongnuo 16 1.8. Those are all great for like a talking headshot that I normally do. And you know, then you got your 30mm lenses, 23mm. There's so many. QuirkWorks, get on that. Tell him. Oh, look, he's already doing it. Look at this. Now I'm just Sigma 18 to 50. See? It's a good thing we talked to QuirkWorks because he's right about that. Okay. Now, question. Will we get an A7S4 or is the S-Line dead? I think my gut feeling, and we all love my gut, it has 8 abs. Just, you can't see them because of all of the fat, but they're there. And my gut feeling tells me, the rippling abs tell me that it is not, they're not going to pursue it. I am always in favor of more cameras, not less cameras. But when you look at their lineup, like I don't see where it fits in. Do you know what I mean? They have the ZV-E1, which is like a stripped out FX3. So, and EVFs are expensive, and the A7S III has a very nice EVF in there. I hope they do. I hope they do an FX3 Mark II and then just go, oh, yeah, and here's the A7S4, which is the same thing, but it has an EVF and a few less of the cinema type features. Then, okay, great, because there are people who desperately rely on that EVF and bright sunshine and things like that. Give the swivel tilty screen. It'd be great. I hope they do it. But my gut feeling is they won't. My gut feeling is that's the end of that line. But I hope I'm wrong. You know what I mean? That's happened before. You know, I've been wrong. I know. Hard to believe. But I have been wrong. It's happened. Not a dentist, but lots of APS-C lenses. Well, if you got lots of APS-C lenses, QuirkWorks, man, you gotta, then I just get the A6700. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. Would I recommend the A7CR? Yes, of course. But what I would recommend for mostly is landscape photographers. I feel like the A7C II is a better all-arounder. The A7CR doesn't have the 8K. You can't shoot 8K with that. Even though it has the same 61 megapixels as the A7R5, you still can't do the 8K. So if you're talking about somebody who wants to get all the cool video features to go along with that high megapixel sensor, I would get the A7R5. But if you're somebody who is primarily interested in photography, you like cityscapes, you like landscapes, you like street photography, having 61 megapixels in that small, compact, little body with all those great autofocus features, it is an excellent camera. But when it came time for me to try to decide between that camera and the A7R5, even though it's bigger and heavier, I like that it has the 2 card slots. I like that it has the tilty swivel screen. I I prefer its EVF as well instead of looking out rangefinder style. And I wanted to be able to have the 8K in case I want to experiment with that a little bit. But if I were a photographer only, and you don't mind having one card slot, you could just save the money and carry around a lighter rig and get the A7CR and just have those 61 megapixels, be able to use, you know, compact little APS-C lenses and still get 26 megapixels, be able to crop in on your photos in full frame. So yeah, I mean, I do recommend it highly, but it just depends on who you are and what you're shooting, you know? Do I plan to review the new Leeming LUT? It'd be interesting to look at the examples. It's tough. I just use it. I'm using it right now. So I'm shooting in log on the FX30, and I am just using Leeming LUT, the new one for Sony. And when he puts out a new LUT, as far as I know, he doesn't. Had to burps. He doesn't put back. He doesn't also sell the old LUT. You know what I mean? Like since he's updating the LUT for the color science of the new cameras, and he's always tweaking things. Paul Leeming. I don't know him personally, but we've talked through email. I don't make any money from him at all. Come on now, Paul. Kick me some dough. Come on. Give me some affiliate something. I just use it, so I recommend it. And he's always been great, responsive when I have questions and things like that. So I just use the new one. So doing a review, it's kind of hard to, because it is what it is. You still, like, there's no real way to compare it to the old one, because even though I have it, most people don't have it or they won't get a chance to have it. And Sony color science changes like slightly in every camera anyway. So, but what I might do is do a video highlighting it, you know, because a lot of people ask me about color grading, and my color grading couldn't be easier because I just shoot in log and I stick the Leeming LUT on, and I might tweak it a little bit, raise the highlights in the and drop the shadows a tiny bit, add a little bit of sharpness, because when you're shooting in the S-Log3, there's no sharpness, so I put in a little sharpness. But other than that, yeah. You know what? I gotta get a spot of coffee over here. Hold on a sec. I like that the microphone's here, so when I swallow all gross, like, I just go back here. I just kind of wish I didn't have a travel mug. It looks weird when I drink it because I got to tip it all the way up. But hey, better that than spilling this stuff on my expensive cameras, right? What do I think about the OM3? I tell you, I haven't used Olympus. Well, it's not Olympus anymore. I haven't used Olympus since they were called Olympus, and I loved them. But I am not a good source of information on the OM systems because I don't have a relationship with them, so I'm not sent anything, and I really lost track of what they do and the features that they have. And I wish I didn't, but again, there's only so much time in the day, and I'm barely getting through the Sony and the third-party stuff, and occasionally some Fuji and some Lumix, and now I got those Canon lenses, and you know what I mean? It's just there's just so much. So Lumix, unfortunately, and most of the Lumix Micro Four Thirds and Olympus Micro Four Thirds have really kind of gone by the wayside for me in the channel, and not because they're bad. I used to love using my GH5 and my G7 and my Olympus OM1 Mark II. I still have all those cameras, and I love them. And oh, actually, I sold the GH5, but I have the other two. And but it's just because I'm mostly APS-C in full frame around here, and I'm spread too thin. I'm not like Petapixel, you know, they have a team. They work as a team. You got Jordan, you got Chris, you know, and I would still, if OM Systems, if you're listening, and I know you're not, I would, if you send me stuff, then I will definitely review it. And by send me stuff, like, we don't get stuff for free. Well, at least I don't get stuff for free. They're just loaners, and I send them back. But if they want to send me some loaners, then I'll find the time. But it's just that it's tough to find the time right now. So yeah, I'm not a good, I can't tell you. So now, if you've written, I've lost the thread of of the earlier comments. So if you're still here and your comment wasn't answered, just write it again, and I will look down at the new comments, and then I will try to answer that, because sometimes I yammer on and I know I missed some stuff. So please let me know. And I'm just going down now through the back. Will I be doing any testing of the Sony 400 to 800 from a football field away? Let me tell you something. That lens is real, and they send it to me. Oh, buddy, you better believe it. You know what? Yeah, just me, just from the ground looking into people's condo buildings. You know, like a creep. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna get banned from YouTube. It's gonna be great. But I mean, 400 to 800, how big and heavy would that be? You know what I mean? I don't, because I was thinking about getting a landscape lens. I was thinking about getting the 200 to 600 to go shoot the birds, and not kill the birds, but, you know, take pictures of the birds and the wildlife and things like that. And I still might get that lens this year, but then I hear rumors of this 400 to 800. Do I want that? Maybe. I mean, I'm a pretty hefty guy, so let's see. Do I think the A7 IV has the best color science out of the box of the Sony cameras? It's arguable that yes. I know Patrick Tomaso thinks that, and I think Gerald thinks that as well. Gerald Undone. Those are personal friends of mine because I'm a big deal. Okay. I've heard them say that. I've heard Patrick say it for sure, and I think Gerald thinks the same thing. And so I don't blame anybody, and it is great. My personal favorite, if you're asking, and I know you are, is the ZV-E1. Out of the box, the ZV-E1 colors in picture profile standard, now they might be a tad warm for some people's tastes, and maybe that's why some people would like the A7 IV, because they're not quite as warm. But because I'm a pale, vampire-ish looking Irishman, I'm from Newfoundland, but we're heavily Irish, and I like the color that it makes it look like I have blood in my face. So I really like the ZV-E1. To me, it's very flattering. So I would say ZV-E1. I think Gerald and Patrick Tomaso think it's the A7 IV. So, and that's the thing. Like, there are people who are doing blind tests these days, like with the color science, because that was such a big deal for so long, even though everybody shoots in log now, so none of that makes any difference in my opinion. But you'd be surprised at how good the generation, since about the A7 IV, how good the Sony is in standard picture profile. When I do my live streams, I'm using standard picture profile. When I'm often out vlogging, or if I'm at a conference, all that standard picture profile looks really great. Okay, I upgraded to the A7R5 during the holidays, and me too, Cullen. We're the same. And I'm trying to decide if I should update to CF or stick with the Sony Tough cards. Do I use the CF cards? You know what, dude? I got a free one because of the deal at Camera Canada. Shout out to Camera Canada. And it wasn't a deal for me. It was a deal for the general population. I buy my cameras like everybody else. It's just I have unlimited funds. You know what I mean? Unlike everybody else. So a Sony 128 CF Express card, Sony Tough CF Express, came with this. So that's fantastic. And I have some from Per Gear that work quite well, the CF Express cards. And I'm going to tell you right now, I never use them. I never use them because, you know, often, like, you know, my card reader, I do have a CF Express card reader now from Ulanzi, and that's great. But before that, that was a recent addition, but before that I had to plug in an extra thing to get my CF Express card read, and so I just wanted to use, there's no situations I ever need the CF Express card. There's only one or two modes, I think, in S&Q at the highest possible bitrate, 600 megabits per second in S&Q or something like that, and I just don't use that. So I would say stick with the Sony Tough, man. That they cost more money, and you gotta get a card reader that has that slot, you know, and then Like I'm often using like 5 or 6 SD cards at once, so they're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. Like, and so if one of them's a CF Express card, that's okay. All right, this camera doesn't take CF Express, this one does, and so I stick with the Sony Tough. That's my feeling. No, being someone who owns both, I see no reason to buy any more CF Express cards unless something changes in my workflow and the new cameras that come out. I have zero need for them. They just cost way too much. The only reason I have the Sony one is because it came with that Christmas deal that they were running. You know what I mean? Okay, last question, Mark. You can ask more questions. You know, as long as I'm here, I'm going to sign off eventually. But best f-stop for selfie pics with you, myself, and other people, friends next to you, still learning f-stops. Oh, yeah. And you find out when you take a picture of you and your friends and you're using 1.4, only one person is in focus. That's right. So go do f4 or 5.6. If you have 2 people in the frame and their heads are close together, you can get away with an f4 probably, and they'll both look pretty sharp. If it's a group of people, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 people, like you want to look at f5.6, maybe even f8. And I know that sounds extreme, but it's not. When you have people with heads in different spots and some people are forward and some people are back, I would say when they're close together, people are close together, f4. I wouldn't go much lower than f4. I mean, you might get a 2.8 if it's a romantic a couple who's got their 2 eyeballs next to each other, and you can do a 2.8, something like that. But I err on the side of f4 when I have 2 people whose heads are in a similar plane. And if I have more than 2 people, I'm usually looking at 5.6. And if I got a group shot, f8, f9 even, because it's more important to have people in focus than to have that group of 9 people separated from the background. Plus, depending on where you're shooting, the background will be blurry anyway if it's way back there and you got 8 people in your shot. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's something that new people often have to figure out is that, hey, how come I'm in focus but my fiance is all blurry? Because you used f1.8 or f1.4, and that's a razor thin depth of field. So, yeah, good question. See, you said that's your last question. That was a great question. Okay. Does the A7C count as a retro style camera? Will they come out with something with dials? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know why Sony's not big on fashion. You know what I mean? It's all about function. They're very sensible. They're like sensible shoes. They're not putting out stilettos. You know what I mean? They're putting out flats. And I personally like Sony cameras. I like the way they look. I'm a fan of cameras in general. But some of those Fuji cameras or that Nikon ZF, like, oh boy, whoa, they look so cute. You know, I like them. So I don't know if they'll come out with something with dials on. It doesn't really suit their brand, their style at the moment. They don't go that way. So I doubt it. I doubt they'll come out with something flashy. I mean, it'd be nice. Like, they should take note of the X100-6 and X100-5 from Fuji. They should take note and go, people like that shit. And they do. And sorry about swearing there if you got little kids in the room. I know you're watching this with babies in your arms. And but yeah, those, I'd like it. But the A7C, I do think that the most stylish cameras for Sony are the rangefinder type ones, especially if you get the silver trim. I think that does look pretty cool, I gotta say. So that to me is their closest thing to like a retro style camera, an A7C with some silver trim. See, where are we? Whoop, what did I do? Oh, we're still here. We're all still here. What was the first camera kit did you start with? I love to hear where people started. I'm not going to tell you. How about that? Just end the live stream. Click. No, I used the Panasonic. They were called. Now they keep trying to make us call them Lumix. So I guess they're probably going to break off. But Lumix, I used the Panasonic G7, and that was my first camera, my first one that I bought. My son, he's 8 now, so 9 years ago, I bought a Panasonic G7 because I was reading about the new revolution of the mirrorless camera thanks to the GH4. And they said the G7 is just the baby the little brother to the GH4, and it shoots amazing 4K video. And I was doing stand-up at the time. I wanted some nice clips that were better than, you know, a camcorder clips. And so I got the Panasonic G7, and it did look fantastic, but I had to learn so much. There was no stabilization. The autofocus was terrible. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make it work for a while, so I watched a ton of videos, and I realized I loved it so much that now it's my job. Like, that's how it literally started. I just kept researching, and I wanted to make the image look better and better, and then I found out about these leaming LUTs and all of these things, and I can't get enough of this stuff. And so I wanted to do it full time. This is what I'm doing. It's so weird for somebody who was born and bred, feels like, to be a stand-up guy. When I was 4 years old, I told people I was going to be a stand-up comedian. And I did, and I was professional at it for 2 decades. And so the idea that there's something I enjoy doing more than that, it blows my mind. But it's the truth. I really, really like it better. I'm older and I have kids and stuff now, and your priorities change, your life changes. You don't want to be on the road. You don't want to be doing these things. Is that my watch again telling me to get up? I will not get up, Apple. You can't tell me what to do. Okay? Let's see. You helped me switch to the client work. You're welcome. QuirkWorks. We've highlighted him a lot, this particular thing. Okay, let's see. Like, again, if you have... I'm now looking at the bottom of my comments, so I'm looking at the newer ones. So I probably won't go back further and see any of your older comments at this point because it's been a bit. But I will answer the newer ones that are coming in here. What's this one? Have you tried the ZV-E10 Mark II with Mic 2 from DJI? Just wondering. The sound is floating. At first, very loud, then quiet. I searched on the internet. I have a feeling that the problem is only mine. Yeah, no, I use it all the time. That shouldn't be happening. Check your settings. Make sure that the ZV-E10 Mark II or the DJI don't have an auto gain feature somewhere that you've left on. I can't recall DJI having an auto gain, but maybe it's in the Sony menu. But yeah, if that continues, maybe try another mic and see what happens. And then if that continues, I would send that back to DJI. They're usually pretty good about, replacing things. Okay. Now, I'm going to drink this while we all read this comment. Hey, Melissa, she's always here. How you doing? Okay, first of all, so they're saying, Melissa's saying, now that I've had the ZV-E10 for a while, is there any settings I would change? And where's the fireplace? That was from a post I made. Melissa, she's like an elephant. She remembers it all. So the igloo fireplace just right behind me. That's what's keeping me warm here in this crazy Toronto winter. And you know what? Not much. I wouldn't change much, but I will say what is different is that I almost exclusively use the Cine 2 profile with the leaming LUT. So I used to recommend HLG a lot and even S-Log3 for a period of time, but I find that S-Log3, the colors come out, like the blues look a little too purple, and it's the lack of the bit depth, instead you have a few million colors instead of a billion colors with 8-bit versus 10-bit footage. So I find using S-Log3 footage, I don't get the blues the way I like, so I'm not using the S-Log3 footage on the ZV-E10 original. And the HLG is just, it's a bit of a pain in the butt, with the workflow, you having to convert the footage to either the Rec 709 in post or using a LUT that converts it for you. And then when you're looking on the screen, it's all blown out. And if you get your exposure wrong with an HLG, it's really hard to recover it. I've had some emergency email people. Luckily, I've been able to help out most of them, but people are saying, like, what do I do with this footage? And I'm looking at it and going, well, you shot an HLG3, and the problem is you underexposed or you overexposed, and when you do that, it's really hard to save that footage. So I find it's best to use the Cine 2 profile because you can pretty much expose it normally, you know, just 70% zebras on your face, or get your metering mode to be 0.0. And so I like the Cine 2 profile because it kind of looks on the screen the way it's going to look in post, and then I apply the Leeming LUT to make it look really good. But that's I would say, if there's a change, it's that I now consistently use the Cine 2 profile. Yeah. What is the best Sony camera for video under $2,000? That is the FX30. Now, you can make an argument that the A6700 is just as good for video, but it's just without that fan, you know, and you want to do long things like stream for a long time, or do weddings, podcasts. You said video, and I think the answer is pretty clear that it is the FX30. The only thing is that you can't stream 4K 30 USB-C. You can do that with the A6700 and the ZV-E10 Mark II. And the ZV-E10 Mark II is the best value video camera because you can get that for $1,000, and whereas the FX30 is usually around $1,800. But that's the answer. The answer is the FX30. The A6700 is an excellent camera, their best value hybrid, and the ZV-E10 Mark II is a way to get FX30 quality on a budget. But best is the FX30. The only thing it's missing is it doesn't have the AI chip for autofocus. I honestly never need that with the FX30. And it doesn't have the USB-C streaming. It doesn't have a viewfinder, so out on a bright sunny day, you might have to do this a lot. But, you know, that's the best one right there. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I think that's good. Oh yeah, we already got that one. I'm just going back to make sure I didn't miss anything good. Anything. Oh, you know what? Okay. I see okay. I had pressed the wrong thing there, but that's okay. That's okay. We're back in business. I was wondering, my comment section got real small for a second, and it's just, you can't see me fat finger pressing everything over here, but that's what's happening. Hi, from Slovenia. Hello. You say your hobby is landscape. Do I post my pics? No. I don't do enough of it, and I'm too self-conscious about it. You see, like when I have some photos I like, I just usually put them in these videos, but I don't have, I need to do it. I want to get more as I age, as I go into my decrepit old years. I want to have more of a landscape tilt to my content, and once I you know, start to wind down the fast, frenetic paced review type world where I'm trying to get all the pieces of new gear and review, I think I will slowly graduate into just being a, hey, let's go take some pictures in wildlife, and I'll be nice and calm and smooth. And then I will, but I do need to start working on that. My Instagram is garbage. Everything is garbage except my YouTube channel. But I focus so much on reviews that I so rarely just go out and take some nice landscape shots, or at least curate them. Like, I have thousands and thousands of photos on my hard drives, but I never go through them and edit them and make. I'm always working. You know what I mean? So, but I should, and I will. I'm gonna get on it. You'll see. Can the ZV-E10 work with the Sony XLR hot shoe adapter? Yeah, as far as I know. I haven't heard anything any otherwise. You know what I mean? So let's see. Oh man, look at all these comments. All right, let's go with now that the Viltrox and Yongnuo, which do you prefer? Now Viltrox have the. Well, I haven't tested out the Viltrox 23. Yongnuo's great, but if that Viltrox 23 Air is anything like their other Air, then that's going to be a way better value, and it's going to have at least as good image quality. But it's a 1.7 instead of a 1.4. But I have a feeling that that's going to be my bigger recommendation out of the two, just because of price and quality and what Viltrox are doing, and the fact that you'll probably get a Lightroom profile for it, like built in. Whereas Youngno, you got to go to their website and download your own profile, and they're still a young company. Viltrox are really quite. They're playing with the big boys now, Viltrox. So I would probably, without having tested it, I'm pretty sure when I do test it out, that'll be my top recommendation for a 35-ish look, full frame 35-ish look on APS-C. You know what I mean? Because it's, just checking my time here. Oh, this is not to me, probably. You need a dual Comica VM4030. Yeah, so I don't know who Kale is talking to, but I use XLRs, but it's true, you don't need it. In fact, I have the, where's it? Comica VM40 right here. You know what? This is the thing I should have been testing out today. Oh my God. Oh, the procrastination. I do know that I tried it wirelessly, and there was a little bit of noise. A little bit of the noise floor was a little higher than I liked. So I'm going to plug it in to the camera directly with a longer 3.5 millimeter cable. And I'm going to see how that sounds. I'm assuming it's going to sound a little bit better than the wireless transmission. And the internal, the 32-bit float, I recorded on that, and that sounded a lot better than using the wireless. Where is it? I don't know where it is. But the little wireless receiver that you put over on your camera, that's convenient, but you are going to take a hit when it comes to the sound quality and the noise floor. That's, Oh, Melissa, $5. Thank you so much. See? That's it. You gotta pay. You gotta pay. Hey, super chat, another super chat. Oh, luckily. When did you do that? When did you do that? You did that, I think, recently. Good. While I was just talking. Shiba dog in combat position. Did you just want me to say that for your ringtone? Shiba dog in combat position? I don't know what that's referring to. And I have no idea. But listen, that was a super chat. I like Ron Burgundy. You put that on my teleprompter with some money next to it. I'm going to say whatever you want. When I plug in an external monitor, it reflects only my settings as soon as I begin recording. How can I make the monitor display brightness and color as it does in record mode? You got to turn off your HDMI display. So in the settings, you go external monitor, HDMI output, and when it says HDMI info, turn that to off, and then you will get the clean feed on your external monitor. So I leave that on sometimes when I'm recording, like say my Ninja 5, and I want to show people the settings. I'll turn the HDMI info on. But if I'm doing this and I just want to see my monitor, I'll turn HDMI info off. So yeah, go through your menu. You will see that. Look, super chat. Oh my God, guys, you're too kind. Thanks. You've helped me with so many. By the way, I'm 65 and still going 100 miles an hour, so don't slow down. Well, let me tell you something. I am 46 and I'm already crawling here at a pace. I don't have what you have, Quirkworks. I'm powering down. I'm like a robot who's a solar powered, and he's in the dark, just slow and sad. Please crack a silly joke. I'm pretty sure that's my whole channel, right? That's me in general. I'm a silly joke. What are some budget alternatives to Sigma 16 1.4? Well, that is, I think I said them. Well, there's really only one when you're talking about 16. And that would be the Youngno 16 1.8. That's the one that I would get. Youngno 16 1.8. Image quality, pretty much as good. Just a 1.8 instead of a 1.4, but who cares, right? Who cares? So that's what I would get. The wireless is way too unreliable about the XM40. Yeah, probably. You use the wireless signal. You use the wireless signal to sync in post. You don't have a long cable lengths, and they are not crossing. 3.5 millimeter works fine. XLR reduces EM interference. Yeah. All that is true. So yeah, I mean, I use XLRs, but you know, a lot of people are going to want to plug a microphone straight into their 3.5 millimeter jack on their camera. I did that for a long time with one of the Rode NTG mic. I would just took a 3.5 millimeter cable, about a 10-foot cable from my shotgun. I put it right about here, just out of frame, and then I ran that into my whatever camera I was using, into the XLR port, or to the 3.5 millimeter port, and put my Sony volume at about 7, and that worked great. But of course, I've stepped it up. Look at this, the LS208 from what is it? Loughton. The LS208 from Loughton. I remember the numbers, but not the name. This is great. They sent me this to check out, review. I don't know if I'll do a full review on it. I'm not sure anyone's interested in that, but I'm using it because like I have the heater on. There's a guy chopping wood across the street with a wood chipper, and you guys can't hear any of it, at least not much of it. And that's great with this sound rejection. It's a condenser mic, so that's a surprise. Okay, so that's it. LOL, it's a super sticker. Oh, it's a super sticker. Oh, I get it. See, because I'm looking at Ecamm, it doesn't show me the super stickers. Oh, that's very funny. That is very funny. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the super sticker now. It's a little thing punching. Oh, that is funny. Thanks, Melissa. You're always here to help us out. Unreal. Unreal. I am one kind of dummy. I am some kind of dummy. Let's see. Look, nonstop. Be nonstop. Thanks again. Much love. Stop giving super chats, man. That's too kind. No need. No need. Okay, so let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. People are dropping like flies here. I've been on too long. Usually I find if you go past an hour, people get pretty sick of it. And we're at an hour 30 now. So this is why nobody's here anymore. Well, there's still 79 people here, but we had a lot more at one point. Okay, Makey 35 versus the Viltrox 1.7. I did a whole video on that, and I'll say that if you're doing video only, I would do the Makey because you get that 1.4. If you're more photo heavy, I would get the Viltrox because it's smaller, lighter, image quality is fantastic. And that is it. Okay, what's this? What's this? I went to CES and hated the weight of my setup, thinking ZV-E10 Mark II, but the ZV-E1 is calling my name. You think Sony will release another ZV-E1? Or is that line dead like some are saying? Oh, that's not dead. No way. I don't think so. The ZV line sells very well. The ZV-E1 doesn't sell quite as well as their ASP-C line because it's not as cheap, but it still sells well. And yeah, I use the ZV-E1 and a 16-25 when I go on conferences, and I just carry it around all day. So get that. Get the ZV-E1 and then look for a lens that you like carrying around. Look at this. I'm hopping off. Stay warm, brother. Shoot me a message if you need Anamorphic. Oh, you don't want to open that can of worms, Cam Mackey, because I will. Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with these anamorphic lenses. This anamorphic lens autofocus right here. All right, guys. That's it. If Cam's hopping off, I'm hopping off. Got some popcorn left. Will still here. You guys are nice. Sticking around to the end. Appreciate it. You know, thanks so much. We better get going here because I really have procrastinated far, far too long. And now I'm kind of tired after all of my talking. I talk so much that now I'm tired. So I'll just go in and eat some lunch and then probably not do any work. No, gonna do work. Appreciate you guys sticking around and doing the impromptu live stream. I'm just gonna leave this up for a little while. I'm gonna have to take it down. I'll put a link, an unlisted link in my community posts because I find that YouTube algorithm kind of kills your next video if you leave up your live stream because they're treating it like, hey, no one's clicking on his latest video because it was a live stream. So nobody's, yeah. So anyway, I don't think YouTube has figured that out yet. So I'm going to take this stream down, and plus it's just nonsense. And then, but I will, anyone who wants it, just send me an email or look at the community post, and I'll give you the link. I'll leave it up for a few hours. All right. Okay. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Look at this. Anamorphic. Huh? All right. We'll see you later now. Bye-bye now. I'm going to end.